Now, when we talk about floating exchange rate, this is the rate determined by the market forces. By the market forces. Now, when we talk about market forces, what do we refer to? Can I get response? We talk about market forces.
Demand and supply.
Yes. So when we talk about market forces, we're referring to demand and supply. So the floating exchange rate, take note, please, it is also known as flexible exchange rate system. The flexible exchange rate system, because nobody is fixing anything at this point. The government is allowing the forces of demand and supply to determine the exchange rate. So it's a floating system or a flexible exchange rate system. So under this system, there is no government intervention. There is no government intervention in the foreign exchange market. And the exchange rate is determined by the interactions of market participants. Market participants. Now, let me ask again, who are the market participants in foreign exchange market? Who are the market participants? Okay. Yes. Somebody said importer and exporter. Is it just the importer and exporter?
Who
does buyers
and sellers?
Who do the changes?
The government.
Okay. All right. It's fine. Yes. Okay, the investors. It's fine. Yes.
Government.
So they will buy. All right. Everybody, we are all correct. Now, the market participants include banks. Banks. If you work in the bank, once you step into the bank, you see the exchange rates displayed, the banking hall, the banks, firms, and the government, other institutions. So everybody, even individuals, yes, because sometimes when you have to trade in dollars or in foreign currencies, you're also a participant. When you want to convert naira to dollars, you want to convert dollars to naira, you're a participant. Individuals seeking to buy and sell currency for the purpose of conducting transactions in foreign exchange are participants. So take note, the floating exchange rate is a rate determined by the market forces of demand and supply. It means the more you have people trying to buy dollar, it will affect the rate. The less you have people trying to exchange naira for dollar, it will affect the rate. So you can see that playing out in our economy. Yes, that's playing out in our economy. And we also have fixed exchange rate. The fixed exchange rate. This is not in my slide. Take it down. The fixed exchange rate, I said earlier that there will always be difference between those that participate in the class and those that will just wait for the slide. And yes, the fixed exchange rate. This refers to a system in which exchange rate for a currency is fixed by the government. As I've said, if you've been following the trend in Nigeria economy, you have heard that the government is trying to fix exchange rates. You have heard that the central bank is trying to release money or to hedge against fluctuation in exchange rates. So if you've been following the trend, and please, if you've not been following, learn to follow, because there can be a scenario in the forthcoming exams that relates the happenings in the economy to the exam situation. Yes, so please learn to follow. It can be theoretical, it can be in relation to computation. So the fixed exchange rate, this refers to a system in which exchange rate for a currency is fixed by the government. This system of exchange rate is usually adopted in order to ensure stability in the foreign trade and capital movement. Yes, if we observe our own economy, Nigeria economy, there have been fluctuations over time. Fluctuation, incessant fluctuation. So the government in its own way can decide to fix the exchange rate, So to achieve exchange rate stability, government undertakes to buy foreign currencies when the exchange rate depreciates and sell currencies when the exchange rate appreciates. I talked about this in the last class. Exchange rate appreciation, exchange rate depreciation. So by so doing, government will be able to maintain large reserves of foreign currencies to achieve the desired exchange rate. That is in the case of fixed exchange rate. Fixed exchange rate. So also we have the managed floating exchange rate. Managed floating exchange rate. Managed floating exchange rate. Now, when we talk about the managed floating exchange rate, this refers to a system in which foreign exchange rate is determined by the market forces and government influences. Now, this is an hybrid of the floating exchange rate and the fixed exchange rate. So I said it is an hybrid of a fixed exchange rate and a flexible exchange rate system. So under this system, central bank intervenes in the foreign exchange market to restrict the fluctuation in the exchange rate within certain limits and to keep exchange rate close to the intended and targeted rates. Yes, targeted rates. So now this managed floating exchange rate.
Excuse me, sir.
It helps.
Please, you are too fast.
Yes.
Please, you are too fast, please.
Okay. Sorry, I don't know if you're putting down some of those points. So the managed floating exchange rate, I said, this refers to a system in which foreign exchange rates is determined by market forces and government influences. I further said that it is a hybrid of a fixed exchange rate and a flexible exchange rate system. So under this system of managed floating exchange rate, under this system, please, if your background is noisy, kindly mute yourself.
Good night.
So that's under the managed floating exchange rate system, the central bank intervenes in the foreign exchange market to restrict the fluctuations in the exchange rate within certain limits and to keep exchange rates close to the intended and targeted rate. So this is to create a balance between the floating exchange rate and the fixed exchange rate. Here we have the intervention of the bank and we have the interplay of the forces of demand and supply, both in operation. Both in operations. Yes, Ubot? Ubot?
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, ma.
Please, I don't know if everything you are saying is on your notes because you are very fast. I can barely get everything. I'm just mixing up my notes. Sorry.
All right. When you watch the video again, and you get the video link, you get all my messages. Yes, they are not in my notes. Yes, they are not in my notes. Now, in the last class, we solved two examples, but deep within me, I know some people just follow the class. The computations in that class was not clear to them. Yes, I know. But because I don't have the time, I have to quickly move. That is something I'm supposed to say. Because when it comes to exchange rate, how do you know how to convert? That is why I quickly put this example on the screen. So that I will recall that there's something I need to explain. There are various ways you can convert from one currencies to another, depending on your past experience. But I want to assume that some of us in this class are just coming across this for the first time. So just want to show you the logic on how to convert, maybe from dollar to naira, from naira to dollar, and to other currencies. Now, this is an example I've put forth, that John has 15,000 US dollars that he wants to convert to euro. How much money in euros will he receive if the exchange rate is 1 US dollar to 0.90 euros? So how do you do this? How do you do this? I know different persons might have their own ideology on how to do it, but now you have dollars, right? You want to convert to another currency. What will you do? What will you do? Before I come up with my own ideology, can somebody help me? Can you explain the process?
You multiply with the
Okay. Adebayo Kazim. Adebayo.
Yes, good evening. Sorry. So given the USD, we are converting from USD to euro, and from the exchange rate that we have, the euro is lower compared to the USD.
Okay.
Sorry, um, the euro is higher compared to the USD. Given 0.9 euro is equal to 1 USD, so we can just do a straight multiplication to give us.
Okay. 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 That is a concept. Yes, Chukwemeka. Linus.
Yeah, sorry, I overheard somebody said we're to multiply. It's not in all cases we're to multiply. It depends on the currency. In some cases, we have to divide. And I feel like in this one, we are dividing.
Okay. All right. Fine. Yes, Gabriel and Gambari. Gambari. Okay. Olalekan.
Good evening, sir. In as much the USD is $15,000 and they have given us the rate, exchange rate, 1 USD is equal to 0.90. So we are going to divide 15,000 divided by 0.9 to get the answer we want.
Okay. It's fine. It's okay. Right. Okay. I'm just trying to sample the opinions now before I present how you should do it. Yes, Ibrahim, Aisha. Aisha Ibrahim.
Yes, I think we are multiplying in this case because for 1 US dollar is 0.9 euro and 0.9 is less than 1. So the value we get in USD after we've converted it should be less than. So we can only get that by multiplying by 0.9.
Yes, it's a good one. It's a good one. All right, let me go ahead due to time constraints. Yes. Now this is it. This is it. You have 15,000 USD and you want to convert to euro. What are you going to do? It means that you need to make 15 USD to become euro. Yes, you need to make it to become euro. And for you to do that, it's 15,000. Just permits me to write it this way: 15,000 USD. All right, let me use a formula. Let me present it. Don't mind this formula, I'm not using it to. I just want to present my.
Sorry to interrupt you, sir. Please, which example are you solving?
It's on the screen, sir. Can you see it?
Sir, I can't see your screen. No, sir, I can't see your screen.
Can anybody see my screen?
Yes,
you
I
can see
can
your
see your
screen.
screen.
Yes, I can see your
Yes,
screen.
so
Check your network.
Yes, I can see your screen.
All right. So 15,000 USD. 15,000 USD. We want to convert this to euro. It means that 15 USD. We need to cancel out the USD from 15,000. And how do we cancel that? I'll say 15,000 USD divided by 1. Now, to cancel it out, I will say I want to multiply. What am I multiplying with? Sorry, I'm just trying to improvise here now. Now, it will be, you need to eliminate USD. How can you eliminate USD? How will you eliminate USD? Is by having 0.90 euro, permit me to use E to represent that, divide by what? 1 USD. 1 USD. Now, how can you eliminate USD? When you divide this by this, USD is cancelled, isn't it? Isn't it?
Yes, it is.
USD is cancelled. Now, when USD is cancelled, 0.9 divided by 1 is still what? 0.9. So when you multiply 15 by 0.9 euro, what will you have?
13,500.
13,500 euros.
13,500 euro. Please take note. When you have 1 on top of a fraction, let's assume this 1 USD is the numerator here. When you have 1 on top of a fraction, you divide. Take note or write it down. When you have 1 on top of a fraction, you divide. But when you have a number as a numerator over 1, what you do is what? You multiply. You multiply.
Sorry, sir. Can you recap?
All right. I said, when you have 1 as the numerator. When you have 1 as the numerator is what is above. Yes. As numerator, you divide. But when you have number aside 1 as the numerator, you multiply. But Damasi, are you raising your hand in error, or you have a question, please? So this will be 13,500 euro. Now, let me test if 80% of those on this call actually understand what is happening. Agola, please, if you know you are not asking a question, put down your hand. You're interrupting me. Agola. Linus.
Yeah, so I'm actually confused, to be honest. So because it's 0.90, that's if the exchange rate in euro, and the money there is $15,000. So if you're exchanging because it's less than 1, aren't the answer supposed to be more than 15,000? Are we not supposed to get more than 15,000?
No, ma. You're trying to make 15,000
I'm actually
USD.
confused.
Yes, don't be confused. That is why I brought this approach. Remove all what you've known. Understand what I'm showing you now. Yes. That now you have 15 USD. You want to convert it to euro. Now, the exchange rate is 1 USD to what? 0.9 euro. For you to convert this, you write 15,000
So I can hear you again.
The network is breaking. We'll wait for him.
Hello, can you hear me, please?
Yes, can hear you now.
Yes, we can.
Yeah, we are breaking there.
Hello.
We can hear you
We're
now.
not hearing you
Breaking the call.
initially.
Now, your motive should be, how will you eliminate USD for you to get euro? That should be your mindset from this exchange rate. How will you do that? Is to make euro the numerator and make 1 USD the denominator. Yes, that should be the motive. How will you eliminate USD? Now, for you to eliminate USD, when you divide USD by USD, they all become 1. Yes, they cancel each other. So you will be left with what? Just 15,000 and 0.9 euro. So that is why you have to multiply 15,000. Take note, USD is out of it. USD is out of it in this at this point as well. So 15,000 multiplied by 0.9 euro, you have 13,500. And before this explanation, somebody gave a very good analogy about this likewise. And because I know there are various ways you can determine this, but I deem it fit to present this way so that it will be, I see it as a simpler approach for you to eliminate one currency to suit another, to convert one currency in favor of another. So I don't know if this is clear. Though I'll give an example now. I'll give you a classwork now. You fight using this concept, and let me see if you get the right answer. Yes, Jimo. Jimo. Please, once you are raising up your hand in error, you will not make me to call people that are raising up their hands genuinely. Because now, please, let's take down this question. Let's take down this question. Very fast. We're still going a very long distance. Let's take Linus. Please write it down. Linus. Let me see.
I don't have pen here.
As let me make it this way. Has 30,000 Canadian dollar. That she wants to convert into US dollar. How much? Yes, how much will she receive? How much will she receive in US dollar? Let's say the exchange rate is the exchange rate now. Let me make it 1 US 1.31 Canadian dollar. So this is a question. Any attempt?
$39,300.
39,300.
Yes, Fatima.
39,300.
22,900.
22,900.
22,900 or 22,901.
22,900. 22,901. Oh, no.
Okay. 22,900.
Approximately 22,901.
So can you just explain how can you lead me through now? Tell me what
Yes,
to do.
22,901.
Since we will be crossing out the currency Canadian dollar, so what I did was 1 USD divided by 1.31 Canadian dollar times 30,000 Canadian dollar. So the Canadian dollar will cross out each other. So which will now have 30,000 divided by 1.31, which will give us 22,901 approximately.
Okay. So it's something like this, right?
Yes, sir.
Isn't it?
Yes, sir.
So what will happen? The result is what?
22,901.
22,901.
22,900.
All right, it's fine. Okay.
I have a contract.
All right. Sir?
I have a contract view.
Okay. What is the view, please?
The way I'm looking at it, the Canadian dollar is higher than US dollar. So when you are now trying to convert
Yes.
it to Canadian dollar, it's going to be higher than US dollar. In that case, you are going to multiply 30,000 US dollar to Canadian dollar, which will now give you higher than the other currency, which is 30,000 multiplied by 1.31.
The value is Canadian dollar.
USD is
No,
higher than the
no,
Canadian dollar.
that's how much you receive in dollar. Obviously, you receive less because $1 is equal
Hello, if you
to
want to talk, just raise up your hand, please.
which will give you 39,300 Canadian dollar. That is my thinking.
Please raise up your hand if you want to talk, so that we won't have glitches, please. Yes, Emmanuel. Emmanuel. Obot.
Thank you, sir. Please, I think I'm confused.
Okay,
This
Chika.
formula.
Yes, speak on,
How do I
speak on. We
talk,
don't have
please?
time.
Okay, please.
Yes.
You told
Hello?
us to just. Hello, it's Chika that is
Hello,
talking.
sir.
Yes.
Can I continue?
Yes, Chika.
Please.
Yes, continue, please.
Okay. Okay. Just
Chika,
like
can
you
you
told
speak
us.
on?
Yes, please, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Just like you told us, when we just bring out what we are trying to cancel out, we check out if it can cancel. We set it up in a way. If it cancels out on its own, it becomes times. If it's not, then we know that it's divide. That's from my own perspective, sir. Thank you.
On the message, I want you to say it out. Emanuela. Yes.
Okay, sir, this is what
Emanuela.
me. Yes, sir. Speaking about the Canadian dollar and the US dollar, what we have here is that the Canadian dollar, the value is even higher than the US dollar. So there's no way we can even multiply it looking at it. Like the example that the other man was given that we should multiply. Here, the Canadian dollar is even higher than US dollar. Definitely, you can't multiply through. You divide looking at from his own perspective. But from the example that he gave us earlier, the currency that you want to convert must cancel out each other. So if Canadian dollar is on top and 30,000 Canadian dollar is on top, there is no way the currency will cancel out each other. That's
Good.
my own point of view.
Good.
All right. Thank you very much. Please. Yes. What I've presented is what you should know. Yes. Is what you should know. Those that have done physics, yes, they know that when you are converting minutes to seconds, when you are converting in physics, they will not have issue with this concept. So I've decided to bring up this concept to aid our understanding of conversion. I think the last time I presented this in last diet, I didn't even go to this point, but I discovered that students do have issues when it's come to conversion. In the last class, if you have access to the YouTube of the last diet, it was a different scenario I painted on this concept. I didn't present it this way, but as you keep doing things, ideas come, and I decided that this approach will make it easy for you. Yes. So these things are elementary anyway. They're elementary. So if you have any other opinion on how to derive it, I'm just giving you a simple approach. That when you have dollars and you have Canadian dollars, you look for a way to convert your Canadian dollars to dollars. So this is the standard. Embrace it and know more about it. Let's take it further. This is just we are not yet there now. Let's move further. There are serious things I want us to talk about. Yes, since the network didn't permit me last class. So please listen to this explanation again. I want to talk about selling and buying of foreign currency. Selling and buying of foreign currency. I've said that some of the things I'll be saying are not in my notes. So you bear with me. Let me just present the heading. Selling and buying of foreign currency. Selling and buying of foreign. Now, please listen attentively. Listen now. Companies can purchase foreign currency through any authorized dealer. It can be through bank or through bureau de change operating in the foreign exchange market. And take note, bank can also purchase foreign currency from sources outside CBN. There are some autonomous sources, some independent sources that banks can obtain foreign currency from. Licensed sources that they can obtain foreign currency from. So take note of this. This includes proceeds of exports made by Nigerian companies and foreign currency held in domiciliary accounts with Nigerian banks. In fact, any person with foreign currency can sell foreign currency to a Nigerian bank. So if an exporter has to pay a foreign supplier in a foreign currency, I made mention of some of these scenarios in the first class, that if an exporter has to pay a foreign supplier in a foreign currency, he might ask his bank to sell him the required amount of the currency. For example, Emanuela wants to pay a foreign supplier who is based in US, who produces in US. Emanuela is not having the dollar. She will have to run to the bank and ask the bank to help with the foreign currency. For example, if a bank customer or a company now has imported goods, which it must now pay 10,000 US dollar, what will happen? Two things will likely happen. The company will ask the bank to sell its $10,000. Yes, the company will ask the bank to sell its 10,000 US dollar. So it is essential to realize that if the company is buying currency, the bank is selling it. Take note of this. There will be questions that you will need to analyze. Who is buying? Who is selling? The question will not tell you that. You will need to infer that as you read through the question. So now, it is very important to realize that if the company is buying the currency, the bank is selling it. More so, when the bank agrees to sell the 10,000 US dollars to the company, it will inform the company what the exchange rate will be for the transaction. So if the bank selling rate is let me present this now because I'll need to ask some questions. Let me say, if the bank selling rates is 119 naira to, so let's say $1, $1, the bank, okay, let me present it well. The company need 10,000 US dollars. Need $10,000. And the bank selling rate is 119 naira to $1. Yes, 119 naira to $1. How much will the bank charge the company? How much will the bank charge the company?
1,190,000. 190,000.
Okay, 1,190,000. Did you follow the approach I presented to get that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And it's that value, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, fine. So that is the approach, please. That is it. Now, take notes. So the bank will charge the company 1 million. Please work it out. Work it out. Don't expect me to work it out. I always give the basis. So I'll build on that basis. And how do you get that? It is 10,000 multiplied by what?
119.
119. Take note of this. Similarly, if an exporter is paid 10,000 US dollar, if an exporter is paid 10,000 US dollar, is paid 10,000 US dollar by a customer in USA. He may wish to exchange the dollar to obtain naira. Yes. So he will therefore ask his bank to purchase the dollar from him. He will ask the bank to purchase the dollar from him. Since the exporter is selling currency to the bank is buying the currency. Take notes. I'm heading somewhere. The bank is buying the currency. If the bank quotes a buying rate, let me say, if the bank quotes a buying rate, you know, the bank will always buy low and sell higher. I'm coming to that point. So if the bank quotes a buying rate of let's say 117 naira 50 kobo, how much will the bank pay the exporter? How much will the bank pay the exporter?
1,105,000.
thousand.
Okay. 1,175,000. How did you get that, please?
I just multiplied it with the quoted price. That's for
Okay, the quoted.
$10,000.
Okay, assuming that it is 117.50 kobo to $1.
Yes,
Isn't it?
sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. It's 1,175,000.
So the bank will pay. I'm just asking because some people might be asking, how do we get that? That's why I'm just telling you to tell me, because some will say that they don't get it. So the bank will pay the exporter the value of what?
175,000.
So how did you get that? It is 10,000 at what? It's 117.50. Now, when you look at this, a bank or an authorized dealer is expected to make profit from selling and buying currency. That is it. The bank will not want to make a loss. They want to make profit from both sides. When they are selling, they sell at a higher price. When they are buying, they buy at a lower price from whoever wants to sell to them. So, and it does so by offering a rate for selling a currency which is different from the rate in which it buys same currency. Yes. When you discover they sells at 119 naira and now they are now buying at what? 117.50 kobo. So when you look at this, if a bank were to resell it to another customer, what they've just obtained now, it will charge the second customer more in naira for the currency that it would pay the first customer. So the difference will be. So with reference to the figures used in this illustration above, the bank sells for what? 1,119,190,000. That is buying same quantity of dollars for what? 1,170,000 at selling and buying it. So they've made a profit of how much now? Comparing these two figures,
15,000.
They've made a profit of 15,000 naira. They've made a profit of 15,000 naira. So that is how they operate. That is how they operate. Let's take it further. There are serious matters we need to talk about. All these are still there are still issues that all right. I think this is very important. This is important. That is why I put it in red. Kindly note the following. Yes. In most textbooks, they will not explain what I'll be saying now in a clear form, because in most textbooks, they adopt a pattern, an approach. So I'll be saying this in two ways. Yes, in two ways. I want to talk about exchange rate determination. Exchange rate determination. How do you determine exchange rates? There are two types of rates. There are two types of rates. We have direct quotation and we have indirect quotation. Exchange rate can be quoted directly or indirectly. Now, in some textbooks, some writers We refer to it as pence rate or naira rate. That is for direct quotation. For direct quotation. This direct quotation, this is where the price of 1 unit of foreign currency is being expressed in terms of equivalent amount in home or local currency. That is, this is a direct rate. When you express the foreign value currency in terms of the home currency, it is tabbed as direct quotation. As direct quotation. So this is when the price of 1 unit of foreign currency is expressed in terms of domestic currency. For example, a direct quote between Nigerian naira and US dollar, as seen on the screen. $1 is equal to 119.50 kobo. We have indirect quotation. In the exam, they will not tell you. It's you that will determine that. So you must know when it is direct quotation and when it is what? Indirect quotation. Indirect quotation, this is where the price of 1 unit of home currency, local currency, is being expressed in terms of equivalent amount in foreign currency. So this is indirect rate. That is 1 naira is equal to 0.08375. Now, the inverse of direct quotation is indirect quotation. Take note of that. The inverse of direct quotation, if you divide $1 by 119.50, you have 0.00837. So take note, direct and indirect quotes are reciprocal or inverse of each other. Take note of that, please. It's very important. The examiner will not tell you that. They'll just present a question to you. It is you now that will determine what form of quotation is this. Now, you can convert to indirect quotation by saying 1 divided by the direct quote. That is, for example, in this case now, for the direct quotation, $1 divided by 119.50 will give you 0.00837. Now, with the direct quotation, take note now, with the direct quotation, the rule guiding the market is for the bank to buy low and sell high. Take note. Take note of that. When you are served with a question, you must know, is this a direct quotation? That is when you now know the rule to apply. With the direct quotation, the rule guiding the market.
Please come again, sir. Please. Okay.
Is on the screen. That with the direct quotation, the rule guiding the market is for the bank to buy low and sell high. The bank to buy low and sell high. So most times in most literatures, they adopt the direct quotation. They'll just state it that way. But I'm putting it forth.
Sorry, I can't hear anything.
Please, can anyone hear him?
Oh, okay. I think it's off
His
because I also
network has,
can't hear.
I think his network has gone up again.
People gonna 50th birthday. I got a remote time.
Come on.
Yeah, man, mount. Hey, what is that? I remember it.
Are you by your mic?
And mount.
Hello, hello.
I think the lecturer is not back here.
Hello,
Because,
hello, I'm back, please. Sorry, I'm joining with my
oh, okay.
phone.
Welcome, sir.
Oh, okay.
Okay, sir.
I don't
Welcome
know
back.
what is happening
Yes, ma'am.
to the network. So, but I don't want to give up. I'm trying to stay connected with my laptop, but in the interim, let's see um let's see what we can do. The laptop will come up soon. Yes, I was making a statement regarding the the exchange rate determination. The exchange rate determination. So I said it can be determined in two ways: direct quotation or via indirect quotation. That's the direct quotation is where the price of 1 unit of foreign currency is being expressed in terms of equivalent amounts in the local currency or the home currency. That this is a direct rate, and from what I presented on this slide, I said it can be $1 to 119 naira 50 kobo. When it is presented in that form, that is a direct quotation, and it can be in form of indirect quotation, otherwise known as the currency rate, that this is where the price of 1 unit of home currency or the local currency has been expressed in terms of equivalent amount in foreign currency. So, for example, I said 1 naira is equal to 0.00837. That's the inverse of direct quotation is indirect quotation. That direct and indirect quotes are reciprocal or inverse of each other. They are reciprocal or inverse of each other. So please take note of that. And there is another key point I presented in my slide, a very important point I presented in my slide. I said hello.
Hi.
All right. Sorry, my laptop is trying to connect. Hello.
Hi.
All right.
Hi.
So now with the pence rate, or with the direct quotation, the rule guiding the market is for the bank to buy low and sell high. So, but with the indirect quotation, please note this, it's very key. The examiner will not tell you that. With the indirect quotation, the bank will buy high and sell low. Will buy high and sell low. So one rate is simply the reciprocal of the other. One rate is the reciprocal of the other. Take notes, please. More so, there is what we call the spot rate. There's what we call spot rate.
Please, I can't see the screen though.
Yes, you won't see the screen because, okay, let me see if I can open it through my phone. Let me share my screen. Let me see. I'm not using the Apex platform because my system is, I don't know what is happening to the network. So let me see. I think the screen is trying to come up.
So how about if somebody in the group just assist in sharing while you do the teaching?
Hello. Hello. Just permit me to explain.
Yeah, can
Just permit.
someone help you share
Hello.
the screen? Like can
Yes.
that person help you share the screen while you explain?
Yes, you can. Somebody else can share the screen. Or let me see if I can still share. Yes, somebody else can share the screen.
Please, if you're on laptop, kindly share.
So, but even as you share this slide, let me just explain because I don't want to be defeated by this network. Yes.
Oh, it's back.
Okay. I think I'm trying to.
Oh, okay, it's back.
I think I can share now too. All right. So there's what we call spot rates. Spot rates. Spot rates. Yes, there's what we call the spot rate. The spot rate the spot rate is the rate of exchange quoted for an immediate foreign currency transaction. So the currency must be delivered to the buyer within 2 working days. And the spot date is when the currency is delivered. Please take note of this word. Spot rate and spot date. Spot rate
Is
and
this spot?
spot.
Is this spot rate or what? I couldn't get the word.
We have spot rate. Spot rate.
The spot.
Spot rate. SPOTRATE.
Please, can you
Spot
give
rate.
the definition again, sir?
Now, the spot rate is the rate of exchange. The spot rate is the rate of exchange quoted for an immediate foreign currency transaction. Quoted for an immediate foreign currency transaction. So the spot rate is the rate of exchange place immediately. What is that rate quoted? Now, the currency must be delivered to the buyer within 2 working days. Now, there's what we call spot date. Spot date. What is that spot date? Spot date is when, or the date in which the currency is delivered. The date in which the currency is delivered. That is the spot date. That is the spot date. Now, I have these examples on the screen. Hope you can see the screen now. Hope you can see the screen now.
Yes.
We
Can
can
you
see
see the
this,
screen now,
sir.
please?
Yes, we can, sir.
All right, I have these examples now. In the screen that I want us to quickly look at. But before then, let me just quickly say something still. When we talk about quotation, there's what we call outright quotation and point quotation. There's what we call outright quotation and point quotation. Okay, I think I expressed them here too. But okay, let's quickly look at this example that calculates how much a Nigerian exporter will collect from a bank if he has this, and the spot rate of 1 naira to euro is this. I believe we can all solve this now. I believe we should be able to solve this now, please. Isn't it? Hello?
Yes, sir.
By now, everybody in this class should be able to solve this.
Yes, sir.
So let's take it further, please. It's similar to all what we've been doing before now. Now, there's what we call outright and point quotation. Outright and point quotation. I said that outright quotation is when all the decimal points of a spot and forward rates of bid or ask price is given. Is when all the decimal points of a spot and forward rates of bid or ask price is given. Now, you can see the spot rate here given in decimal points. The spot rate given in decimal points. This is an outright quotation. This is an outright quotation. Now, there is something I'm seeing in this definition that seems new. I'm saying bid and ask price. Bid and ask price. When we talk about bid and ask price, what do we refer to for those that have read ahead? Bid and ask price.
I don't know.
Bid and ask price.
Is it call or put?
the bid and ask price. Okay,
It could
let
just
me
be
quickly
like
help.
a negotiable, a price that is open for negotiation.
Why of 5%?
Okay, all right, it's fine. Let me just say something about those two words. The term bid and ask, the term bid and ask refers to the best potential price that buyers and sellers in the marketplace are willing to transact business. The term bid and ask price refers to the best potential price that buyers and sellers in the marketplace are willing to transact business. Now, what is this bid price? Bid price. Bid price, this is the price that a currency dealer is willing to buy. Take notes now. The bid price is the price that a currency dealer is willing to buy units of foreign currency from a customer by paying in domestic currency.
Hey, sorry, Capo, please, sir, don't be offended.
This is the price that a currency dealer is willing to buy units of foreign currency from a customer by paying in domestic currency. All right, I think you have CR by 9. The lecturer is already message me. Let me create a link for him. Let me just reply him. All right. So the bid price is the price that a currency dealer is willing to buy unit of foreign currency from a customer by paying in domestic currency. So it is the maximum price that the dealer is willing to pay. Sorry, let me respond to this CR lecturer. So that it is the maximum price that the dealer is willing to pay to buy a certain amount of currency. That is the bid price. Now, the ask price can otherwise be referred to as offer rate. Offer rate, the ask price. I know most people are used to offer it, So it can otherwise be referred to as ask price. This is the price that a currency dealer is willing to sell unit of foreign currency. That a currency dealer is willing to sell unit of foreign currency. It is also known as, yes, offer price. It's also known as offer price. It is the minimum price that a currency dealer is willing to accept for the currency. The minimum now, see it now, the minimum. The minimum price that a currency dealer is willing to accept for the currency. And you cannot talk about bid price, ask price, without talking about what we call spread. Spread. In my slide, I think I have something like that, spread. I made mention of spread somewhere, but I've not deleted it because I don't want to present same slide I presented 100% last diet. So I deleted some things and I included some things in this slide. So let me see. Yes, spread. Yes. That's, if you look at this current page, that the exchange rate on the given day is known as the spot rate. and two prices are quoted depending on whether we are buying or selling the currency. The difference is known as what? The spread. The difference is known as the spread. But let me say more about spread. Spread is also known as bid-ask spread. Bid-ask spread. Let me write it. Spread. Spread. Spread is also known as bid. Bid-ask, written in this form. Bid-ask spread. Because I can just surprise you and ask you to explain what bid-ask spread is. So when you see that, it's not far from what you've known. Also known as bid-ask spread is a difference between the bid and ask price. Is a difference between the bid and ask price for a given currency pair. For a given currency pair. The ask price is relatively higher than the bid price. So in order to compensate the dealer for holding risky foreign currency and for providing the services of converting currency. So the bid price or the bid-ask spread is usually expressed in percentage. The bid-ask spread is usually expressed in percentage. How do we express that in percentage? Let me show it. Bid-ask spread. Let me show it. It is ask price minus bid price divided by ask price. Let me do something here. Divide by ask price. This is how to express bid-ask price. Take note, please. The ask price is always higher than the bid price. This is because the dealer will always want to buy at a lower price and sell to customer at a higher price. Take note, please. Take note of that, of these. I want us to quickly head somewhere now before I call this class a close. I want us to head somewhere. Okay. Yes. Yes. There's what we call forward exchange contracts. Forward exchange contracts. And definitely you will see something like that in the exams. If you check the ICANN Pathfinder, you see question. In these forthcoming exams, you will not escape question on this topic. So you just have to know it. It's a very long one, very in various aspects. So every diet, this is a very short game that you must expect question from this topic. Expect question from it. So there's nothing we can do about it. So embrace it, know it, and see how you can overcome it. Now, when we have foreign exchange risk, there are various ways to guide against those risks. And how do you guide against those risks? You use what we call hedging. You guide against risks by what we call hedging. And there are various ways you can hedge against risk. We've looked at three forms of risk. We talked about the transaction risk, the economic risk, and the translation risk.
Translation risk.
That the transaction risk is the risk arising from foreign currency denominated transactions agreed upon now, and the settlement of which will take place at a later date in the future. That is transaction risk. The economic risk, we said in our first class that this is the risk arising from the impact of changes in exchange rates, future expected cash flows, resulting in a change in the company's market value. And this is affected or determined by macroeconomic conditions such as exchange rates, government regulations, and political conditions. So this has to do with macro issues, that is economic risk. The translation risk, I explained all this in the first class with examples. Translation risk, this is a type of exposure faced by multinational corporations that have subsidiaries operating in foreign countries, giving rise to the translation of foreign denominated currencies of the subsidiaries into the parent company reporting currency for the purpose of preparing what? The consolidated financial statement. So there is no way you write corporate reporting exam. Last Diet, they tested it. You need to translate. Is it Kumasi and one other company? Yes, the corporate reporting, the first number one question. So when you're trying to translate the account of your subsidiary to your parent company, there will be translation risk. Hence, you'll be calculating your exchange gain or exchange loss. So now, looking at all this risk, a manager will not just fold his hands and allow this risk to keep occurring to its organization. The manager will think, what are the best ways to cushion or guide against this risk? And that is why various approaches to guiding against risk have been stated in this slide. That method of hedging transaction exposure, that in the above examples, our answers are hopefully correct, provided that we convert the money at the spot rate. The problem is that if the transaction is not going to take place until some time in future, the exchange rate stands to change. For example, you enter into a transaction that you want to make payment at a future date, but as of today, you've already entered into an agreement. For you to guide against foreign currency fluctuation, there are procedures you can use to guide against such scenarios. Now, we obviously have no idea what the rate will be. It may change to our advantage or to our disadvantage, and therefore there is a risk. There is a risk. So the following methods of removing or reducing these risks are the methods you must be aware for the examination. Yes, you must be aware of all these for the examination. We have one way of guiding against this risk is invoicing in the home currency. That is, you selling goods in the home currency. Invoicing in the home currency. This is one method of avoiding exchange risk, in which a company or trader can insist that all invoices will be issued in the domestic currency. So in this case now, maybe you want to buy goods from a US company. You can ask the US company to invoice the goods in Naira so that you would guide against what? The risk of foreign currency inflation. So in this case, that is in the case of invoicing in the home currency, the risk will be shifted to the foreign counterpart, since it is only one party that can eliminate this risk. So invoicing in the home currency has the benefit of eliminating exchange rate risk, but the company may not be able to compete well with its competitors. Yes, when you invoice in the home currency of the buyer, there might be some issues with you competing rightly. So this method of hedging exchange rates is only possible where the company is in a monopoly or has a bargaining power over the customer. So that is when the invoicing in home currency will take place. We have what we call leading and lagging. Leading. When we talk about leading and lagging, these are aggressive foreign exchange management tactics designed to take the advantage of expected exchange rate changes. Leading and lagging. But let's bring it down now. Leading. What is this leading? Leading involves accelerating payment. Take note of this, please. Leading involves accelerating payment or receipt of a transaction in the anticipation of exchange rate movement. When you are leading, it means you foresee that exchange rates will rise to your own disfavor. So before the exchange rate rise to your own disadvantage, you quickly pay now. You pay now to guide against you paying high because of the exchange rate fluctuation. For example, if an exporter,
Sir,
if an
you have
Mute your mic,
please, you are echoing, sir.
So please mute your mic. I want to conclude this before 9, so I can create a link for the corporate reporting. And I want us to look at a question very fast on this. I might not be able to explain all this. I'll just explain few and can read more on the rest. So leading, I said it involves accelerating payment or receipts of a transaction in the anticipation of exchange rate movements. And I was trying to cite an example that if an exporter expects that the currency it's due to receive will depreciate. Now the exporter foresee that the currency is expecting to receive will depreciate over the next few months. It may try to obtain payment immediately. Please pay me now before the value of Naira reduce again. Pay me now. Yes. So it may try to obtain payment immediately by offering a discount for immediate payment. That is leading. While lagging is what? You should know lagging now. Lagging involves delaying payment when there is an anticipation change in exchange rate. For example, if an importer anticipates that the currency it's due to pay will depreciate in value, you need to pay in dollars. But you are saying that Naira will strengthen over dollar. So you as the importer, you may attempt to delay payment. That is, one way of achieving this is to exceed credit terms or have an agreement with the supplier. So in synopsis, leading and lagging can be used only when exchange rate projection can be made with some degree of confidence, particularly when forward contracts are not possible. So it is more attractive to use for the payments between associate companies within a group. That is leading and lagging. Now, there's this one I have an example on. There's netting. 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 Netting involves setting off receipts and payments between subsidiaries. For example, we have a parent company and we have quite a number of subsidiaries located in different countries. Now, if one subsidiary, if there is intra-group transactions, intra-group tradings between the subsidiary, instead of you paying me the currency I need, either you are indebted to me or I'm indebted to you, we can do netting. We can net off our debts against one another instead of doing the normal transfer of currency. So netting involves setting off receipts and payments between subsidiaries of a multinational company, trading together in different denominated currencies. So these intragroup cash flows between the subsidiaries of a company are netted out such that only the net amount is exposed to foreign exchange rates. So there are two types of netting, and it can be bilateral netting, it can be what? Multilateral netting. When we talk about bilateral netting, this involves only two companies in the same group where the difference between the higher and the lower amount is paid. And when it is multilateral netting, this is a type of netting where many companies in same group liaise with the groups. They liaise with the Treasury Department or a group's bankers to facilitate netting arrangement where it is possible. So the common currency in which netting arrangement is to be affected is usually decided upon by the central management. Either we convert all our currencies to US dollars, so there will be a central currency that conversions will be done. So now that is netting. That is netting. We also have forward contracts. We have forward contracts. When we talk about forward contracts, I want to just talk about this because there's an example I want us to look at. Forward contracts. These are agreements to deliver foreign exchange at a future date at an exchange rate agreed upon today. Because in forward contracts, you always see spot rates. In forward contract questions, when you check your questions, you see when a contract is involving forward, it means an agreement between a buyer and a seller. We enter into a contract today, but settlement will be done at a later date. So forward contracts, these are agreements to deliver foreign exchange at a future date at an exchange rate agreed upon today. So it is a binding agreement to sell or buy an agreed amount of currency at a specified future date at an agreed exchange rate. So this contract always take place on a date after the date that the spot contract settles and are used to protect the buyer from exchange rate fluctuations. So the specified exchange rate is called the forward rate, and the designated date at which the parties must transact is called what? The settlement date or delivery date. Now, how do you determine or calculate forward contracts? Number one, you must determine the exposure value. What is this exposure value? This is the value that represents, or this represents the value of the contract. The value of the contract is the exposure value. And more so, you must identify the contract period. Please take note of all these things. They are very important. You must identify the contract period. Also, you must determine the forward rate. What is the forward rate? When you determine the contract period, if the contract period is 2 months, what is the forward rate for 2 months? Because in the question, they can give you forward rate 2 months, 3 months. You'll now be confused. Which one should I use? Note, when you're giving a contract, a forward contract question, you determine the exposure value, identify the contract period, determine the forward rate. More so, you calculate the guaranteed payment. How do you calculate the guaranteed payment? You can calculate the guaranteed payments by knowing your exposure value and your forward rate. That is, exposure value divided by forward rate will give you your guaranteed payment value. Your guaranteed payment value. So, without much ado, there's this question, 2 questions. If you're able to look at them, fine. If not, the other one, I've already solved it on the slide. I solved it last diet. You can access the YouTube to. There's a question on netting. This one, this example, I solved it last diet on the YouTube. I can likewise send the YouTube to the platform so that you watch the lecture where I explain this. So now let's quickly see if we can work on this. Can somebody read, please?
Unlimited, an importer customer must pay for a certain goods 10 days after delivery. The delivery of the goods is expected on 20th of March. The customer discussed with you on 1st February for the purchase of the required currency forward. Total cost of the goods being imported is $20,000. Required. A. What type of contract is this? B. Determine the rate of exchange and Naira equivalent. C. What will be the Naira equivalent of the proceed of the transaction is expected within the 1st of February and 30th of March.
The rate
The
of
rate
first
on 1st of February are as follows. Spot rate per dollar is 1115-1117. 1 month forward, 2 months forward, 3 months forward. All figures are assumed to be correct.
All right, thank you. So looking at this question, they're asking us, what type of contract is this? What type of contract is this? Is it a 3-month contract? Let me give you a clue. Is it a 1-month contract? Is it a 2-month contract? So what type of contract is this? Is it a fixed contract? Is it a fixed forward contract? So Ola Limited, an importer, customer must pay for certain goods 10 days after delivery. The delivery of the good is expected
Forward contract.
Okay,
1
the
month
forward.
forward contract.
Okay, it's a forward contract, but for what period now?
1 month, sir.
1 month.
It's
Why is
more
it
than
1
1
month?
month.
It's 2
More than
months.
1 month.
2 months. Because it
It's
started
not
from 1st of February and then
To
the 20th
March.
of March.
2
It's
Okay, yes,
more than
yes, it's
1
2
month.
months. It's 2 months.
10 days.
Fine. Please, everybody in this class, what type of contract is this? If you are writing, take down these notes as I explained, just 2 lines anyway. Now, it is a 2-month fixed forward contract. It is a fixed forward contract. You must know this, because when you go to your Pathfinder, you see question. It's not magic. It's not magic. It's what you can know and know well and pass these exams. So please know it and become an ACA come May 2025 if you are writing the whole papers. So you will definitely see a question. So when you go through the past questions, you see questions on this and more and more. And I'll send quite a number of assignments to us on the platform for us to solve. Some I talked about in this class, some I didn't talk about. The essence of sending them is for you to do more research, because in the exam hall is what you know that you will write. It's not what the lecturer knows. The lecturer will guide you. Or you must be intentional about getting the knowledge, because it's that knowledge that you get that will give you strength in the exam hall. So that is why I will send assignments to you. When you solve, send back to me. I will send you the solution. If you are right or wrong, you will know. But I discover most of us don't like solving assignments in this class. So it's just few persons that do solve assignments. So now, this contract, it is a 2-month fixed forward contract. Since the contract was entered into on 1st of February, and payments will come up on a specific date in future. That is 30th of March. That is 30th of March. That is your response to A. It is a 2-month fixed forward contract. Since the contract was entered into on 1st, wow, I don't have time. 8:50. All right, I'll just quickly do the talking. Since the contract was entered into 1st of February and payment will come up on a specific date in the future, that is 30th of March. Now, the B part, determine the rate of exchange and Naira equivalent. What will be the rate of exchange now? The rate of exchange. The rate of exchange. Now, for you to determine the rate of exchange,
117.
for you to determine the rate of exchange, you can see now the spot rate is $1 to what? 115, 117. Somebody will ask, what is the meaning of this? This value shows that if you want to buy and if you want to sell. Now, the question you must ask yourself again, is this rate of exchange, is it direct quotation or indirect quotation?
Direct quotation.
You must ask yourself that question.
It's direct, sir. Please, can anyone hear him?
I guess he has gone
We
off.
can't hear him again. Yes.
Yes, I think the corporate reporting lecturer said the class has been scheduled for tomorrow. So maybe that was why he stopped, just to liaise with him. He just sent a notification to the group now.
Hello? Hello?
Hi.
Hear me? Hi.
Hi. Yes, we can.
I must overcome this network today. So now it is, and when it is a direct quotation, I stated something that the rule under direct quotation and deduct discounts, while the currency rate, the rule is to deduct. So please, in the workings, if you have your notes, this is it. The B part at the highest possible rate. At the highest possible rate. The highest possible rate in the question is what? 117. 117. That is the highest possible rate. Please, the question is in the slide. That is the spot rate. Spot rate plus the premium. In most questions, it will be less premium because they are using, it will be less premium. I've decided to present this question this form so that when you see another question and they are deducting, why is it so? Because we are adding premium here because it is what? A direct quotation. Please, in your notes, In your notes, hello? So please, in your notes, because I don't have time, maybe I will, once I'm returning the slide, I will solve and forward again. So it is your spot rate. Your spot rate is what?
117.
117. Now, since this is a direct quotation, you add premium. In some other question, it will be less premium. Please take note. Because once it's an indirect quote, it will be less. The rule is follow my explanation on the slide. If you go ahead to solve some questions, it will be deduction. So most textbook, they will not explain it this way. They will just explain it based on indirect quotation. But I'm taking it further to tell you that once it is direct quotation, you add premium. The premium is for 2 months because it's a 2-month contract. 2 months forward, 2-month forward premium. Now, what will now be the exchange rate now? The rate of exchange will be what?
117.95.
0.95. 117.95.
117.95. Now, what will be the Naira equivalent? The Naira equivalent of $20,000. What will be the Naira equivalent?
2,359,000.
All right. So how do you get that? Based on what we explained at first, 20,000 multiplied by what? 117.95. So please take note. That first explanation is very key. It is the rudiment to you knowing what to do per time. So please, that is the golden principle. So the Naira equivalent is 2,359,000. Now, that what will be the Naira equivalent if the proceed of the transaction is expected within 1st February and 30th March? Please, who is that? So that what would be the Naira equivalent if the proceed of the transaction is expected within 1st of February and 30th March? Now, to do this now, please listen. This particular aspect is about option forward contract. Option forward contract. Since you have since the payment date is not is to calculate the likely rate of exchange for the period from 1st to 30th March. And the bank will sell or will select the highest rate. The bank will sell at the highest rate based on the various options. Now, what are those options? Option 1. What will be the first option?
1st February.
Will be the spot rate. The spot value is what? 117. That is the spot value. Now, option 2 will be what? Spot rate. Spot rate plus what? Plus premium. Add premium. The premium, the first instance of premium is what? 1 month, right?
Yes.
1 month forward premium. That is the first instance. We'll look at that option, 0.75. Now, when you add, you have what?
117.75.
11.75. This is another option. Option 3. Option 3, it will now be what? Spot rate 117 plus what?
Premium, 2 months premium.
Add 2 months premium. Please write it well in your notes to avoid confusion. I'm running because of time. The 2 month
Please,
premium
remember
is
to
0.
send the slide. 0.95.
So the result will now be what?
117.95.
117.95. Now, based on these 3 options, which is the highest?
2 months option. 2 months
Option
forward contract.
Option 3.
Option 3. So the highest rate is 117.95. Thus, the Naira equivalent will equal figure arrived at in the B
multiplied by
part. What will be the Naira
$20,000.
equivalent of this?
The first figure we had.
Yes. So it's a coincidence, please. Note, however, that it is just by coincidence that the rate of exchange for B and C are equal. Take note of that, please. It is just by mere coincidence.
The figure is
So please,
2,359,000. 2,359,000.
yes, 2,359,000. And that is the same result we have when we solve for the B part. So it's a coincidence. Don't think that it will always be like that, please. Yes, it's a coincidence. So please refer to the icon Pathfinder and solve questions on this. And this question on netting, I'll look for the YouTube video of last diet and forward to the WhatsApp platform as well, where I explain this very clear. And that will be it. So please solve questions on this. I will send us for us to make attempts. So thank you very much for your time. See you next time. Good night, everybody.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Good
Thank you,
night.
sir. Thank you.
Thanks.
Good night, sir. Thank you so much.